What's up again, everybody? Today I want to talk to you about a game I've been spending a good bit of time with over the past few months, and that's Alpha Clash. I made a video on Alpha Clash, I don't know, end of 2022, November, December-ish, and it's a game that was intriguing at the time, and the things that they were doing at the time were exciting. Like, they're trying to tie the IP that they're creating together via not just like a card game, but also including like a graphic novel and pouring into the storylines and characters there. And the card game itself was actually very compelling in a lot of respects. It had a lot of fun interactions and mechanics that you'd recognize if you play any card game ever, and it's very streamlined in general as far as playability goes. Then I got my hands on more booster boxes, a couple of the starter decks. I sat down with a friend of mine named Flake and played a couple more games along with some other people that I played with. And the more I've played it, the more happy I have been with the game. Now, there are some faults to be had here and some things that I think can be done to improve the experience overall, and we're going to talk about some of those as well. But there are a lot of good things going on as well. So, as the video plays and I open packs in the past, because unfortunately the audio did not translate very well after recording this one, which is kind of a bummer, I figured I'd talk to you and give you my perspective on the game, where it's going, where its successes will lie, and where it could need to put its focus, or it could struggle in the stretch, depending on how it goes. And I'm rooting for it because, like I said, I have enjoyed the playability and the experience of playing it. And it seems like a lot of people that I've seen have as well. So first things first, this is a superhero trading card game. It is a card game through and through. If you sit down and you play this game, you will have recognized a lot of mechanics from a lot of different card games. And to me, that is okay. To other people that play card games, sometimes they look at like a game that has similar mechanics and they say, this is just a blah 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 clone, except this happens, right? So for example, a lot of card games will be called like Magic, but it's Magic, but you get to do this. It's Magic, but you also do that, like, right? Or it's Magic, but you don't get mana screwed, and oftentimes it's that one, right? It's that they just like go to Magic, they fix the resource system, do that a few times, ship the game out, right? And in some respects, this has some similarities to many other games, to Magic the Gathering. It has similarities to Yu-Gi-Oh! It has similarities to, a variety of games that use the specific resource system that it kind of employs, and that you can take a card from your hand and place it, upside down, and that acts as that color resource. And you can do that, with any card in your hand, and it's not pinned down to, like a specific land-based system. And that is a common concept in a variety of card games that came out after Magic the Gathering established the land-based system. But there are also fun little tweaks that they've added that other games may have dipped their toe into, and other games haven't. The fun part about this game is not the disparate parts. And that's what so many people get hung up on when it comes to a trading card game, is that, this mechanic is literally just like this other one. It's derivative. The fun part is not the mechanics separately. The fun part is when you combine them into a sum of their parts and feel how that game feels unique, along with the theming, along with the way the cards interact, and along with the optimization of the individual cards in that experience as a whole. And on the whole, I think Alpha Clash does a fantastic job of taking these mechanics that you may recognize, introducing some of their own, and also optimizing mechanics that have existed prior, so that when you play the game, it feels familiar, it feels unique, but most importantly, it feels streamlined and, of course, functional as well. One of the best examples that I have of this, when you play Alpha Clash, because it is a game that requires you to have a resource in hand, or take a card from your hand and turn it into a resource, you have the issue of, okay, so I'm going to have let's just say I have a 7-card hand, right? Here's my 7 cards. I will draw for turn, go to 8, okay, and then I will play a resource card down, or turn a card into a resource, okay, that's back to 7, and then I'll play a card. Okay, I'm at 6 cards. Then next turn I draw a card. Okay, play another resource. I'm at 6 cards. And then I want to play 2 cards. Now I'm at 5 cards, 4 cards. Okay, I'm really hand negative, right? You've experienced this perhaps in other card games, right? And it doesn't matter if it's a land-based system, a la Magic the Gathering, or if it's a just I turn my cards into resources system, a Duel Masters, Kaijudo, whatever, right? It doesn't matter, because the fundamental of it is that you're at card disadvantage over the long term, right? One of the interesting and fun ways that I noticed it has been kind of mitigated in the game of Alpha Clash is that there are so many cards that replace themselves in this game that you don't run into as much of a, okay, top decking. We're down to like, I have 1 card left, I have 2 cards left. At this point, I'm just drawing the top card of my deck and I'm playing that, because cards will replace themselves. What does that mean? It says, okay, I play this card, I do the effect, and then at the end it says draw a card. And so I draw a card. What does this mean over the long term? I see more cards, I play more cards, and I don't get to the point where I feel as though the shuffle of the deck actually affected the outcome, and who wins or who loses or who even plays the game. That is one example that I think really sums up how this game functions and has improved upon the overall mold. Now, I mentioned at the beginning, there are some negatives in this game, and I want to talk about one of them. And, you know, after talking about like a really big positive and one that I think is very good, here's a negative that you can perhaps get, I don't know, annoyed by. To me, this is a smaller thing, but it is, in my opinion, something that you could go through and fix. And it's something other games have actually fixed as well. They've had this issue. For example, Flesh and Blood actually had this issue as well. In this game, there are, in my opinion, too many rarities. There are far too many rarities. Now, some of them in this game are, obviously there's a promo rarity. Some of this in this game are like the special treatment rarity, but by and large, there are, in my opinion, too many rarities for it to be feasible as far as like just even keeping track. And I'll take it a step further, because that's an easy fix, right? You just like kind of combine rarities in a next set. And that is something that Flesh and Blood did, actually. They combined the super rare rarity with Majestic, and they moved on with their lives, and everyone was better for it, because there's no reason that you have to have another rarity system tucked in there. Okay, but I'll take it a step further. The iconography of the rarity system is a crystal in the center, as you can see as we scroll through. There's crystals in the center bottom of the card. That crystal is a different color for different rarities. Sometimes those colors are really freaking close together, and sometimes it's hard to tell what rarity you're actually holding, and you actually have to go and like squint and do the... Okay, that is a small, minute detail that, in my opinion, doesn't really affect the gameplay of things, but it can, and I don't quite know if it is right now, but it can affect collection and how you actually go about collecting the game, how you actually go about deck building as far as that is concerned. And this is the same sort of thing that Flesh and Blood, looked at with super rares and majestics and legendaries and fabled and commons and rares. They said that's too many overall like rarities in the system. So let's slim it down. Let's take super rares and just lump it in with majestics and move on. The same thing can be applied with Alpha Clash if they choose to. Now, maybe they have a different plan for it. Maybe, there's some like wider, grander design that I don't know about. That could be the case. But that is something that I look at and I go, okay, does this affect collectability? Does this affect building decks? Does this affect just pull rates in general? That is something to keep in mind on. One of the most fun experiences, though, from this game, outside of playing it, is opening packs, because I very much enjoy looking at the foiling, experiencing the cards. I actually very much like the art. Now, I think if any game is to come out in this day and age and attempt to succeed at market for the long term, whether that be 3 years, 5 years, whatever, one of the things that I think is incredibly important that any game should have down pat is a very clear, very distinctive, very understandable, and easy to interface with art style and aesthetic. If you are coming to market with a card game, it should be very clear what that card game is attempting to evoke to you. It should be very clear what the audience is supposed to, gain or connect with. And this game does that. It is definitely superhero focused. It is exactly what it is. They are super characters, and you are playing as super characters or characters that fight super characters. And that's cool, and it's easy to grasp onto, and I personally very much like the overall art style. I think the detail on the characters, the design, the choice of the arts that were employed and implemented on the cards, I think across the board, minus a couple of arts, are top-notch and are evocative. They make you want to know these characters. They seem very superhero-esque. You look at a character like Solar Flare, and that's like, that is a character I want to play. That is a cool character. I personally look at Clarity, and I'm like, okay, Clarity is interesting. What's her deal? I want to play that. And then I read Clarity as a card, like as an effect, like all the effects on the card. And I'm like, okay, I definitely want to play that because I get to draw cards. And drawing cards is the best part of any card game ever. At me in the comments below. Tell me what your best part of any card game ever is. To me, it's drawing cards. That's what you want to do if you want to play card games. And so this game has an evocative art style that pulls you in and tells you what it is. What it does also need to capitalize on, though, and this is true of any game, I talked about this in the Grand Archive video, it has to capitalize on connection with LGS and organized play. Because, and I have been a part of games like this, a game is good. It is fun to play, it is exciting, and you can't find anyone to play it. What happens to that game in the hypothetical sphere? It doesn't exist very long. Why? Stores could sell it. They could sell small amounts. They can buy small amounts. They can say, okay, I'm probably going to buy 2 boxes of this. The 4 people that come in and buy it, they'll sell that outright to them. And then they'll never run events. They'll never really interface with the product past that. People don't really meet to play it. That's a problem. That is how a game goes on like life alert style, like you have a problem, right? So what does any game, the sorceries of the world, the Lorcanas of the world, the Grand Archives of the world, obviously even One Piece technically to some degree, all of these card games have to interface with their local game stores. They have to sell to them. They have to prove that they are going to be profitable. They have to run organized play. They have to encourage organized play in the local game store so that a player base can sprout and grow from it. Because if you think as a game studio, your job is to run events and like grow the player base in that respect, you're going to sorely find that you're not going to really be able to manage that. You have to incentivize other entities, LGSs, places like that, to run events so that your player base grows. Because I don't think there is a single company that can do it themselves. I mean, even Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro, if all LGSs of the world said we're gonna stop running Friday Night Magics, can Hasbro really step in and go, okay, we'll cover the cost for all FNMs? I mean, they might have the money, but is the game gonna grow like that? No. So LGS support is like the number one thing that is necessary. And I'll tell you what, I don't know where Alpha Clash falls on this. I would like to know. I hope they have LGS support and OP, organized play, because if they do, more people are going to play this game. And I'll tell you right now, it's a really fun game to play if you like trading card games. And I do like trading card games. I sat down, I played it back and forth. I think the decks and the characters that you play as are incredibly, what's the word? They are varied in the way they play, but they are very focused on what they do, and they are evocative of that character, right? So like, you look at Clarity and she definitely tells the future. I think that's cool. You look at Moxie and she's all about putting on equipment and going and shooting like with guns and stuff. I think that's, you know what they're going to do when you look at them, and then they play that way, and it's fun. And the game is really good, and I hope very much that it continues to grow and expand. And I would love for you, if you enjoy card games, to just go out and try it. One of the things that I think has been best encapsulated in the growth of this game is going on Twitter and seeing a bunch of like people that I interact with and follow on Twitter that play Flesh and Blood and other competitive games. jumping into this game. That is, in my opinion, that's a very good sign towards the organized play side, and I hope that that means that there is going to be a a player base that's rabid and excited to play the game, because I think it's worth playing. It just depends. Are there going to be events at LGSs? I hope so. I don't know for sure, but I hope so. So that's Alpha Clash in a nutshell. I hope you enjoy listening to my rantings about trading card games in general. If you do, feel free to make a number climb slightly higher, because in 13 button presses, if 13 more people press red buttons, that's the way to say it. When 13 more people hit that red button, we are going to celebrate as a nice little friend group, family time. It'll be great. We'll hop on a stream. We'll celebrate with some giveaways. As always, everybody, thanks for watching.